Andy Bryson's wife Megan Kerrigan just filed for a divorce and demand $100 million as compensation after Andy Bryson was caught cheating at Coldplay's concert. What went down at a Coldplay concert that shattered a marriage? You won't believe what Andy Bryson was caught doing, and how his wife Megan Kerrigan is hitting back. In this dramatic expose, we break down the shocking cheating scandal involving entrepreneur Andy Bryson and his now estranged wife, Megan Kerrigan. After a public incident at a Coldplay concert, Megan has filed for divorce, demanding a jaw-dropping $100 million settlement. From betrayal to legal battles, this video reveals all the messy details and how it could impact Andy's empire. What if I told you that a single 16-second video from a Coldplay concert didn't just go viral, it detonated a marriage, crippled a billion-dollar tech empire, and exposed a corporate scandal so messy, it made national headlines before sunrise? July 14, 2025. Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara, California. 70,000 fans. One Coldplay concert. It was supposed to be one of those dreamy summer nights, the kind couples remember for years. The sky was clear, the crowd electric, and Chris Martin's voice floated like magic through the California air. Love was in the air. And Coldplay knew it. As the band slipped into their fifth song of the night, A Sky Full of Stars, the massive jumbotron cut to a couple sitting near the front row. At first, no one thought twice. Kiss cams are standard fare at concerts. But what happened next would ripple through the internet like wildfire. A woman, later identified as Kristen Cabot, the head of HR at a tech company called Astronomer, was seen leaning into a man beside her, smiling, laughing, a little too closely. Then came the kiss. But not just any kiss. This wasn't a chaste peck between spouses. This was an intimate, slow, lingering connection, one that didn't scream corporate retreat or professional acquaintance. The crowd's reaction was audible. A mix of cheers, awkward laughter, and confused murmurs. But for one woman, thousands of miles away, it was earth-shattering. That man on the screen? He wasn't a movie star. He wasn't a rock musician. He was Andy Bryson, the high-profile, charismatic CEO of Astronomer, and more importantly, a husband. A father. A man married for 12 years to Megan Kerrigan Bryson, a well-known philanthropist and public figure on the East Coast. And the woman he was kissing? Definitely not Megan. Within minutes, the clip was ripped, reposted, and rehashed across every corner of the internet. TikTok, X, Reddit, Discord, Threads, Instagram Reels. You name it, someone posted it there. Most didn't even know who they were watching at first, it was just that couple from the Coldplay concert. But within 2 hours, the internet detectives had done what they do best, unmask identities. A Reddit thread titled Coldplay Concert Cheating Scandal reached 10,000 comments before midnight. A Twitter sleuth cross-referenced Andy Bryson's LinkedIn headshot with the man in the video, and the resemblance was undeniable. But the bombshell dropped when someone posted a side-by-side of the woman in the video and Kristen Cabot's public-facing employee photo from the Astronomer website. The internet erupted, because this wasn't just a cheating scandal. This wasn't just another man caught on camera doing something he shouldn't. This was a CEO caught in 4K cheating on his wife, with his company's own head of human resources. The optics? Catastrophic, and as the video gained traction, so did the fallout. Hashtags like hashtag Coldplay cheater, hashtag Astronomer scandal, and hashtag Andy Bryson exposed were trending globally by dawn. Celebrities started reposting the video with cryptic captions. Influencers stitched the clip with reactions ranging from mockery to outrage to total disbelief. But while the world gawked at the footage, one woman's life was falling apart. Megan Kerrigan Bryson reportedly found out the same way most people did, through social media. Multiple sources close to her later confirmed that she had not been in attendance that night. Instead, she was in Manhattan, hosting a charity gala benefiting children's mental health, an event she had organized for months. Pictures from the event show her smiling beside donors, laughing with guests, blissfully unaware that her husband was about to humiliate her on a global stage. According to a family insider who requested anonymity, Megan received a flurry of text messages around 10:40 p.m. PST, she thought something had happened to the kids at first, the insider said. Her phone kept buzzing. Friends from LA, DC, even London, were sending her the clip with just one question: "Is this Andy?" She watched the video. She rewound it. She zoomed in. And then she collapsed. She sat there in shock, the source continued. Not crying. Not screaming. Just stunned. I don't think her brain could compute it. You have to understand, Megan adored Andy. They were her whole world. Their life, their legacy, their family, she protected it with everything she had. To see it blow up like that, on a public stage, during a love song no less, it was like a knife. Back at the stadium, things weren't going much better. Sources say that after realizing they had been broadcast on the Jumbotron, and after hearing some booing from the audience, Andy and Kristen quietly left their seats midway through the set. Some fans captured them walking briskly toward the VIP exit, looking flustered and avoiding eye contact. Kristen, in particular, was reportedly visibly shaken. They were acting super weird, one concertgoer told Entertainment Report. She looked like she wanted to disappear. He just kept looking at his phone. By the time the encore ended, Andy Bryson's name was already on the front page of TMZ. And Megan? She had left the gala early, surrounded by two close friends and her personal driver, refusing to speak to anyone. What followed in the next 12 hours was an unprecedented corporate and personal meltdown. At 9:12 a.m. the next morning, Astronomer released a terse internal statement acknowledging that certain personal matters involving senior executives have surfaced and are being reviewed. By noon, Kristen's profile was removed from the company website. Andy, meanwhile, remained silent, no posts, no statements, no denials. But Megan? She acted swiftly. By the end of the day, her lawyer filed for divorce in Manhattan Supreme Court. The filing included a demand for $100 million in compensation, a figure that turned heads across Wall Street and Silicon Valley. To understand that number, you have to understand who Megan is, not just a wife, not just a mother. She's a co-builder. A silent architect of Andy's empire. When Andy was launching Astronomer in the basement of their first home, Megan was the one paying the bills with her marketing job. She helped write his early pitches. She was in the room when he landed his first round of funding. She left her career to raise their children, manage their home, and support Andy's relentless climb. The betrayal didn't just hurt, it invalidated everything she had worked for, and the demand for $100 million wasn't just about money. It was about dignity. About reclaiming the narrative. About making sure that the man who betrayed her in front of millions felt the full weight of his choices. The divorce filing, which was later made public, referenced irreconcilable differences exacerbated by recent events of public infidelity and cited emotional distress, reputational damage, and a breach of marital trust. But perhaps the most damning line came near the end, where Megan's legal team wrote, "My client seeks not just financial compensation, but accountability." Something that, to date, Mr. Bryson has refused to provide. As the day drew to a close, Andy finally broke his silence. Not with a press conference. Not with an apology video. But with a 3-line post on Instagram: "To everyone I've hurt, especially my family, I'm sorry. I failed you. I ask for privacy as I try to make things right." The comments were brutal. Thousands flooded in, calling him a coward, a narcissist, a fraud. Some pointed out that he failed to mention Megan by name. Others questioned whether the post had been written by a PR team. A few defenders chimed in, asking the world to remember that everyone makes mistakes, but they were quickly drowned out by the overwhelming wave of outrage. As the sun set on July 15, Megan was photographed stepping out of a private car outside her attorney's Manhattan office, head held high, sunglasses on, lips pressed tight. No statement. No tears. Just silent strength, and the internet couldn't get enough. One tweet summed it up best. Imagine betraying a woman like Megan Kerrigan, on a Jumbotron, at a Coldplay concert, during a sky full of stars. You couldn't write a better villain origin story. But this isn't fiction. This is real. And it's only just beginning. To the outside world, Andy Bryson wasn't just another tech bro with a dream. He was the dream, a self-made entrepreneur with charm, ambition, and a golden touch that turned code into cash and ideas into empires. But beneath the public accolades and crisp headshots lay a man whose dual life would eventually implode on the world's biggest stage. So who exactly is Andy Bryson? Born Andrew James Bryson on November 3, 1981, in Palo Alto, California, Andy came from modest beginnings. His father, a public high school chemistry teacher, and his mother, a nurse, instilled in him two core values early on: work hard and never forget where you come from. He was a bright kid, too bright, some said, who could disassemble and rebuild a desktop computer by the age of 12 and built his first database for the school library while still in middle school. In high school, he earned the nickname Byte because of his obsession with coding and debugging for fun. While others were going to football practice or high school parties, Andy was holed up in his bedroom teaching himself C++, Java, and Python before most people knew what those even were. But his real breakout came at Stanford University, where he double majored in computer science and business. Professors still remember him as the student who never stopped asking, "But what if we could scale this?" That curiosity would eventually turn into Astronomer, the software firm that would define his career. Founded in 2010 with two classmates from Stanford, Astronomer began as a humble cloud analytics startup. Their mission was straightforward: help companies understand customer behavior in real time using predictive data modeling. But Andy wasn't interested in staying small. He saw the future, and he wanted to dominate IT. By 2015, Astronomer had secured Series B funding of $70 million. By 2017, the company went global. And by 2021, Andy was being interviewed by Forbes, Wired, and CNBC as one of the top 25 tech titans under 45. The New York Times called him the Steve Jobs of SaaS. Fast forward to 2024, Astronomer was valued at over $4.2 billion, with Andy owning a 17% stake, making him a certified tech billionaire. He became a staple on the conference circuit, delivering keynote speeches at TED, South by Southwest, and Davos. Sharp suits, slick speeches, and slogans like "Data is the new destiny." He spoke like a prophet and walked like a mogul. But unlike many of his contemporaries, Andy had one powerful asset they didn't: his marriage to Meghan Kerrigan. Their relationship was Andy's secret weapon. She humanized him, softened his edges, made him more than just a software guy. At every gala, she was the polished counterpart to his controlled chaos. Where he commanded attention, she commanded trust. And investors loved them. Together. The media, they were tech royalty. The Brysons. Power couple. Magazine cover worthy. Their Instagram, curated, but not obnoxiously so, showed them vacationing in Lake Como, playing with their children in the backyard, or laughing backstage at charity fundraisers. It all looked so grounded, so real. But if Meghan was the heart of the brand, Kristen Cabot was its spine. Hired in 2019 as director of HR and later promoted to chief people officer, Kristen was known for her no-nonsense attitude and laser-sharp instincts. She wasn't flashy, but she was effective. And she became Andy's confidant inside Astronomer. They shared late nights, confidential strategy meetings, and business trips across 5 continents, and that's where the whispers started. Insiders say the boundaries between professional and personal blurred years ago. Andy insisted it was harmless. "We're just aligned," he told colleagues who raised eyebrows. "She gets the mission." But others weren't so sure. One former executive told Tech Insider, "If you spent 5 minutes in a room with them, you knew something was off." It wasn't just work chemistry. Still, no one challenged him. Andy Bryson was untouchable. And in tech, results speak louder than rumors. Until now, when the Coldplay kiss cam video exploded online, it wasn't just a marriage that collapsed, it was an identity. The man the world thought they knew was suddenly someone else. Gone was the visionary CEO. What remained was a man facing down public humiliation, shareholder revolt, and a divorce that could dismantle everything he built. And this wasn't just a PR crisis, it was personal. For years, Andy preached about transparency, loyalty, and building cultures of trust. Internally, he boasted of open-door policies and family-first values. He even gave a TEDx talk titled The CEO as Caregiver, in which he talked about modeling humility and treating every employee like family. It aged like milk. In that talk, he said, "If you lie to your team, you've already failed. If you lie to your family, you've lost everything." Now, those words haunt him. Not just because they're hypocritical, but because they're being replayed in every news segment covering his downfall. And it gets worse. Sources from Inside Astronomer say that, while Andy's statement asked for privacy, behind the scenes, he's scrambling. Multiple C-suite meetings have been cancelled. The board of directors has reportedly demanded a full ethics review. Kristen has not been seen at headquarters since the video surfaced. And internal memos hint at possible contractual breaches and reputation damage requiring mitigation. Andy's once untouchable image is now radioactive, but the most devastating blow might not come from shareholders or scandal-hungry headlines. It may come from Meghan herself, because while the world debates whether Andy can recover professionally, Meghan is quietly building a case that could leave him broken, legally, financially, and reputationally. In her divorce filing, Meghan's attorneys cite a pattern of betrayal, not just a single mistake. They suggest the Coldplay kiss cam was the final straw in a series of escalating concerns, implying this wasn't the first indiscretion. The documents reference trips taken without family notice, corporate expenses used for personal enrichment, and emails recovered from a shared device that demonstrates sustained deceit. It's a chess match now. And Meghan just made her opening move with checkmate precision. Andy, the man once praised for his foresight, didn't see this coming. Or maybe he did. Maybe he thought he could control the narrative, like he always had. Maybe he believed the public would forgive him if he just apologized fast enough. But this isn't a product recall or a minor software glitch. This is betrayal, captured in HD, replayed by millions, and burned into the internet forever. This is the unraveling of a tech mogul, and while Andy Bryson wants to find the future of data, now he's become the cautionary tale of what happens when a personal decision spirals into a professional collapse. Before she was the woman at the center of a $100 million divorce headline. Before the tabloids dubbed her the tech titan's wife, Meghan Kerrigan had a name, a voice, and a purpose all her own. Truly understand the magnitude of betrayal that unfolded that night at the Coldplay concert, you need to understand her, not just as Andy Bryson's wife, but as a woman who helped build his kingdom, only to watch it collapse on top of her. Born and raised in New Canaan, Connecticut, Meghan Kerrigan came from a long line of quiet strength. Her father was a federal judge. Her mother, a history professor at Columbia. From a young age, Meghan understood the importance of poise, privacy, and performance. She was the eldest of 3 siblings, the one who always made the honor roll, the one who volunteered at local shelters, the one who never, ever stepped out of line. She was brilliant. And the world noticed. Meghan attended Brown University, where she majored in political science and minored in art history. But even then, it wasn't about showing off. She didn't need to. She had that rare, disarming presence, the kind that made people lean in when she spoke. The kind that made rooms quieter, not louder. After graduation, she moved to Washington, D.C., and took a job at a public affairs firm. That's where she learned how narratives were shaped, how images were built and destroyed. But it wasn't until she met Andy Bryson at a tech fundraiser in San Francisco that her life took a turn she never expected. He was 5 years into building Astronomer. Confident. Curious. A little chaotic. She was visiting the Bay Area to pitch a new digital media campaign to a group of investors. Their first conversation lasted 2 hours. He asked her about Plato. She asked him about the ethics of artificial intelligence. They disagreed. Then they laughed. Then they disappeared from the crowd. 3 months later, they were living together. 2 years later, they were married in a private ceremony overlooking Lake Tahoe. Guests were asked to check their phones at the door. From the start, Meghan was clear, their love was theirs, not the internet's, and for a long time, that boundary held. While Andy chased funding rounds and software milestones, Meghan grounded the family. She became his strategist, his editor, his unofficial chief of staff. She helped rebrand astronomers' early messaging when it sounded too robotic. She hired his first communications director. She rewrote entire keynote speeches in their living room while their first child napped in the next room. To insiders, Meghan wasn't just Andy's wife, she was his compass. She saw things in him he didn't see in himself, said one former board member. He was visionary, yes. But he was reckless. Meghan kept him tethered to the world. And yet, she never asked for credit. She declined interviews. She turned down sponsorship deals. She refused to appear in Forbes' Top Tech Couples feature. Instead, she focused on philanthropy. Over the last decade, Meghan launched and chaired the Kerrigan Initiative, a nonprofit aimed at improving mental health services for young women in underserved communities. She raised millions. Opened community centers. Sat on panels with Michelle Obama and Melinda French Gates. And still found time to show up at her children's piano recitals, book fairs, and school plays. She was everywhere, and yet never too much. So when the Coldplay concert video hit the internet, people didn't just see a wife being cheated on. They saw a woman who had invested everything. Her time, her talent, her reputation, into a life that just evaporated. And for Meghan, the betrayal wasn't just public. It was strategic. It was humiliating. One close friend, speaking anonymously, said Meghan had been suspicious for months. There were subtle changes, the friend explained. Andy was traveling more. He became strangely protective of his phone. He'd walk out of rooms to take calls that used to happen in front of her. He claimed it was just bored politics, but Meghan's not naive. Still, she gave him the benefit of the doubt. That was who she was, loyal to a fault until the video. In private, Meghan didn't scream. She didn't threaten. She did what she had always done, she strategized. According to sources, within hours of seeing the footage, she contacted her attorney, instructed her household staff to cancel all public engagements, and moved her children to a private residence in Westchester County. She didn't crumble, said one family friend. She recalculated. Because while the internet was busy laughing at memes and hashtags, Meghan was preparing a case that would redefine modern divorce in high-net-worth circles. The $100 million figure wasn't arbitrary. It was surgical. According to legal analysts, Meghan's team traced years of joint investments, commingled assets, shared intellectual property, and internal communications that could suggest marital collaboration on key business decisions. She was more than a spouse, said corporate attorney Denise Crawley. She was a strategic partner. And the law sees that. And then there were the morality clauses. Contractual landmines buried deep in astronomers' internal ethics agreements. If it could be proven that Andy's actions caused public harm or reputational damage to the brand, Meghan's legal team could argue that she's entitled to damages that reflect not only marital betrayal, but corporate irresponsibility. And Meghan? She came prepared. Sources close to the case say she provided evidence of questionable reimbursements, shared calendars with secret meetings, and internal HR reports that may have been altered. While Kristen Cabot remained silent, Meghan's legal team was building a timeline, one that, if true, would show a long-standing relationship between Andy and Kristen, dating back at least 2 years. But what struck people most wasn't just the strategy, it was the dignity with which she moved. No interviews. No press tours. No revenge posts. Instead, she released a single written statement through her publicist 3 days after filing for divorce. This is a deeply personal and painful time for me and my family. I will not be engaging with the media or making further comments at this time. My focus is on protecting my children, preserving our privacy, and moving forward with integrity. It was just 53 words. But those 53 words ricocheted through every newsroom and social media feed with the weight of a full-blown manifesto, because in an era obsessed with spectacle, Meghan's silence became its own form of protest. She didn't need to go viral to be powerful. She already was, and as her name began to trend alongside Andy's, the internet pivoted. The same audience that first gawked at the scandal began rallying behind her. Support groups, hashtags, and TikTok tributes emerged, women sharing their own stories of betrayal and resilience, tagging Meghan as a symbol of strength. Brands noticed. Women's rights organizations reached out. Netflix reportedly inquired about film rights. And Meghan, she didn't respond. Not yet. Because this isn't about fame. It's about truth. It's about what it means to be betrayed not just by a partner, but by a system that too often treats women like accessories in a man's empire. Meghan Kerrigan was never an accessory. She was the blueprint, and now? She's ready to build something entirely her own. At 9:37 p.m. Pacific Time, the Levi's Stadium Jumbotron flickered for a moment. Chris Martin was halfway through a sky full of stars, the lasers were dancing in sync with the beat, and a crew member in the control booth panned the camera to scan the crowd for the next kiss cam moment. The idea was simple: find a happy couple, zoom in, cue the hearts, get a kiss. Lighthearted, spontaneous, and charming. Harmless fun. What that camera captured next, however, would ignite a scandal that would burn through marriages, business empires, and headlines for weeks to come. Let's break it down. Frame by frame, the Jumbotron zooms in on a pair in row 1, section A. 2 seats from the aisle. The woman, blonde, laughing. The man, sporting a baseball cap and black collared shirt, leans in. The crowd sees the hearts pop up on the big screen and begins to cheer. There's that moment, just a second and a half, where the man looks up and realizes what's happening. There's a slight smirk, almost a twitch of nerves. Then the woman, later confirmed to be Kristen Cabot, HR chief at Astronomer, leans forward. The man closes the distance. They kiss. It's brief, but intimate. It's not a forehead peck. Not a cheek kiss. It's lip to lip. Soft. Unrushed. Both of their eyes are closed. Her hand is lightly resting on his leg. And for those watching on the Jumbotron, it's just another couple having a cute moment. But in the age of instant documentation, someone was always filming. A 19-second iPhone clip, taken by a college student 2 rows behind them, catches the entire scene, including the aftermath. In the clip, you can hear the crowd's reactions. Oh my God, wait, isn't that Andy Bryson? Isn't he married? Within minutes, the clip hits TikTok. The caption reads, CEO caught on kiss cam with mystery woman. Coldplay concert. Tea is hot. At first, it garners a few thousand likes. A handful of comments joke about Coldplay turning into cheap play. But something's off. Several sharp-eyed users recognize the man from a recent tech keynote. Then someone posts, that's Andy Bryson from Astronomer, and that's not his wife. And just like that, the internet sinks its teeth in. Reddit threads explode. One user zooms in on the man's Rolex, Andy's signature piece, a vintage black dial Daytona he wore in dozens of interviews. Another compares the hairline and facial structure to Bryson's headshot on Astronomer's website. It's undeniable. But the woman? It takes 2 hours before someone finds her, Kristen Cabot, whose professional LinkedIn photo, crisp blazer, confident smile, is now plastered next to screenshots of her kissing the CEO. And here's where things get worse. Kristen Cabot is not just any employee. She's HR. The head of human resources. The person responsible for enforcing workplace conduct policies and ensuring ethical leadership. The hypocrisy writes itself. Within 6 hours, the phrase, caught in 4K, is being used across platforms. The clip is dissected frame by frame. Users add dramatic zoom-ins, slowed down replays, and even Coldplay lyrics synced to the kiss in mock edits. One viral TikTok overlays the moment with the lyric, "'Cause you're a sky full of stars. I'm gonna give you my heart," before cutting to a scream. By sunrise, the original clip has over 27 million views across platforms. But what made this moment so damaging wasn't just the kiss, it was the symbolism. Coldplay concerts are known for their emotional pull, moments of unity, love, connection. The kiss cam is meant to celebrate those themes. For Andy Bryson, being caught in such a vulnerable moment with someone who wasn't his wife, during a song about devotion, was more than embarrassing. It was incriminating. Let's pause and ask the obvious. Why was Andy Bryson, a married man and CEO of a $4 billion tech company, engaging in such a public display of affection in front of tens of thousands of fans, at a concert where cameras are constantly recording? Was it arrogance? Carelessness? A belief that nobody would notice? one behavioral expert, Dr. Ellis Raymond, weighed in during a morning show interview. What we're seeing here isn't just infidelity, it's the breakdown of executive judgment. It's the illusion of invincibility. Bryson likely believed that his power insulated him from scrutiny. The reality? In the age of social media, no one is untouchable. The footage reveals more than a kiss. Observers noted the way Andy and Kristen interacted throughout the concert, leaning close to whisper, brushing shoulders, smiling privately. To the untrained eye, it was simply a cozy couple. To anyone familiar with the Bryson marriage, it was a betrayal in real time. News anchors soon began playing the footage alongside B-roll from Andy and Meghan's